The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, as you can see, the Nasdaq ended up breaking above that 20K marker and pushing to the upside. It's also worth mentioning the NQ futures are rolling over. So if your numbers are a little bit different, don't worry. Do what you got to do, though. But that's when you're breaking out the level we've been mentioning and talking all about. I am going to say right now, guys, if you're not following on Twitter, I recommend doing so. Again, it's free. I post all day long so you guys can see as well. If you missed any of the videos, this is definitely the best place to get caught up on anything and stocks I'm liking. But yeah, so we're jumping back in here. We can see what's happening here. The Nasdaq went crazy. You ended up hitting that 20K level, and the pre-market around London open, 3 a.m., 2 a.m., rejected, pushed down, and then obviously just shot back up when the market opened up. Very strong overall day. Now, Nasdaq wasn't the part that we were kind of concerned about. It was more about like ES and what was happening with Dow. But we talked about ES, the bull flag, what was playing out. And what happened here? You ended up mounting back above 5,500, as you can see, and then breaking up very nicely. Pretty monstrous day going over that as well. We go into Dow, as you can see here. Dow is that one thing that we're looking at to finally get the breakout. Again, once you break out of this area, the 39.3, you're moving into this next region up here, which will be a little bit tougher to get above. You can see the two order block levels there as well. So again, our next level after 39.3, 39.6, 39.5, then getting above 39.7, which really will get the breakout on the overall Dow. You also go into Russell, looking at smaller caps. Again, this is the area that people keep trying to trade and, time the breakout of, small mid caps. Again, it's a dangerous game. You can see you've been trading in an overall range for like 2.5 years, give or take. So, if you want to do that, be my guest. Let me know how it goes. But clearly the Nasdaq, ES have been the focal point of the market. And I continue to say, if the Dow can get the breakout with it, you're going to see more continuation as well, and the tech names perform even better. Going into our favorite names and stocks we've been talking about as well, you're seeing Apple breakout, you're seeing Meta push back into highs. We saw AMAT, some of these semiconductors continue their breakout, Netflix. A lot of good names start to push as well. So we have a lot to talk about in this video and a lot of names that I think have show signs of continuation. And I, again, do believe the market is still pretty net bullish. Again, other things we're looking at here as well, the dollar, oil, what's happening with yields, we have to talk about because the overall direction of the market, in my opinion, is right in front of us and things that we should be looking at as far as data that will be coming out. But before we do that, we need to go into this.
And now let's briefly talk about my favorite investing app and the sponsor of today's video. If you're interested in trading the exact same broker in which I'm using for options and what I'm doing market research on, this is exactly who I'm using. This is Moomoo. This is their platform on their desktop. You can also check it out for the mobile app as well. This is their live news feed. And if you're thinking about making the switch, right now is a pretty good time because right now they're doing a 1.5% cash reward up to $300 if you transfer in. Or if you're just getting started and you want to kickstart your journey, Moomoo is giving you 5 in each of the Magnificent 7 stocks when you make a qualified bonus. You can go down and scroll and see all of this. It's right there on their website. Check them out. The link is down below.
Now, again, I want to go into the dollar first. We saw the dollar moving up, and it was kind of like the only curious part of what was happening last week was the dollar was moving up near the end of the week, while basically yields and everything else were coming like crashing down. We look at the 30-year yield. You saw a little bit of a bounce on that actually, going in from Friday into, pre-market yesterday into today, which came back into our 4.4 level, rejecting off that. But the dollar was actually showing weakness during this time, and this is what we were talking about. Sometimes the dollar will move based on foreign monetary policy, and that's what was happening with the Russia, the Russian ruble or whatever, and what was happening specifically with Japan's market was definitely propping up the dollar here. But I do believe the dollar is shaping up for more downside, and I do believe what's happening with yields is the biggest underlier of that as well for a risk-on environment, because again, we're still seeing the 30-year yield get back down and breaking down out of that overall range, which I think will kind of be more important throughout this week as well. We also go into oil, which has been one of the best indicators for what's happening with inflation. Oil does continue to break out, and this is a problem, and I would definitely be watching this very closely because if it holds above the 200 SMA, again, on the daily specifically, you got back above the weekly a while back. You get back above this and start to break back above $80. This can start shaping back into 85, 86, and this will prop back up that inflation data going into the later months of summer, July, maybe even going into August. So again, definitely be watching this very closely. I'll be keeping you updated. In the short term, I still think inflation data favors the data that's back here. Just to give you, for instance, I think most of the data that just got tracked in was back here going to like May. I think going into July, it's going to be this middle of May to the basically beginning of June, middle of June. So again, I think this is what's going to be propped into the next CPI, PPI readings. Can't be for sure, but that's what I'd be banking on personally. And then again, this influx will definitely be showing into August, in my opinion. Again, we'll go more into that, but in the short term, you're definitely seeing the favor come into yields and what's happening there. That's been a very going notion here on the channel as well. Going back into SPY and what's happening here, people keep asking for levels. Again, if you're not following on Twitter, I recommend doing so. But it's really simple. If you break highs and you mount highs, you're going to get great continuation. So overall, you still look good on Qs, on SPY, and everything in general. So again, I like a little bit of the pullback that was coming here, but going into the rest of this week, it's important that we are identifying what's in front of us. Now, I want to make sure I'm not leaving you with any levels or anything here, but again, like you don't have much liquidity back to the downside, back to 480, but you also too, you know, if you're looking for the upside, just mount previous highs and continue going. Going into the economic calendar here on this week, going into tomorrow specifically, of retail sales will be kind of important. I don't think they're going to be that big though. And you have more of the industrial production coming in there as well. This data has proven to be good over the past few weeks, so it's kind of hard to expect something worse than what's been happening because it's been so good, but we'll see. And over the past few weeks, it's just been coming in good. You do have Fed speakers speaking as well. I continue to expect Fed speakers to favor and appreciate the data that just came in, but continue with the notion of we need to see more, right? More of the same, right? So a lot of Fed members speaking, I think they're going to favor the data. We'll see. That's my personal opinion. 20-year bond auction will be interesting just based on how the 30-year went. The 30-year was very favorable as well last week. So definitely watching that. But we will see. So that's the biggest thing going in tomorrow. Nothing crazy as far as inflation data. You don't really have any inflation data Wednesday. The market is closed, obviously. On Thursday, you get mortgage 30-year mortgage rate decision or mortgage rates and what they're at. Again, we want to see those decline. You're at 7.02% on the last reading. That's still on the decline. We went into home sales and what's happening with the mortgage rate as well and how it's bullish for the market. But again, jobless claims will be important. That's about it. So again, what I'm looking for, as you can see, nothing really big coming into Thursday. That's it. So Thursday will be more of the data, but until then, not too much. So going into equities, we're talking about. Obviously, I favor tech and what's happening there. I was very big and adamant on what was happening with Apple. I started loading my position. I mentioned that as well in Discord and on Twitter for the most part as well. Great day on Apple, pushed back in almost into 219, pulling back here in the end of the day. Great bounce back. I still think Apple's bullish. I think Apple is net bullish above this level right here, 215, essentially 214.85. Above this level, you're bullish. Below it, you're just consolidating, and it still seems you're bullish even below it because you're just finding levels. One thing that I'm always trying to show you is the VRVP. And as you look back at this level, you can see there was basically nothing down here, but you started making new volume levels, and that's just a very bullish sense because buyers were just showing up. Going into Apple, I want to be really clear too. I still think the contracts look amazing. I favor what's happening with the August contracts personally. I think they're moving fantastic. Those contracts are well over 30%. On top of the day, you were moving fantastic. So like, it's hard to not be excited about these. But yeah, so these contracts have been killing it. Definitely would be watching those. I also think the January 2025s are really awesome if you want to hold and kind of capture more of that move without as much of the risk. You know, what I'd be watching there is, well, Apple, very, very, very strong name. Another name I've been mentioning is Netflix and what's happening there. You had that bull flag. You ended up breaking back above 676. Above 676, I think you're bullish in all-time highs personally. You have a little bit of resistance near 685 as well. But I'd be watching this one. I still think Netflix contracts are undervalued when we look pre-earnings. So if I was looking at any contracts on Netflix, I'd be going for a 712, July 12th, near the 700s. When I mentioned these a few days ago, they were at $4. Now they're sitting at 10. They reached highs of, as you can see here, the highs of 1231. Absurd. But I still think these make a lot of sense. I still think they're valuable. Watch them. If I was trading anything, I'd be looking for this specific, at least, expiration for myself. Do what you got to do, though, not financial advice. But again, get back above 676, 677. You look really, really good. Meta, another big name here. If Meta can hold above 510, you look phenomenal. So again, you go back to something like the 2 hour, the 4 hour, as you can see here. You can see a little bit of resistance kind of all around just laying here. But this is what you're looking to get above, a hold above this 509.9, 510 level. You look really good. You ended up projecting there near the end of the day, but if you can get back above and hold that level, as you can see on the 15-minute, that's where the clear rejection was. You look really good. So you're pushing up, rejecting, you want to get back above. Get back above amount, you look very, very strong. Also, too, guys, if you're looking at our indicators and you're interested, the link is down below for Lux Algo. Code is OD40 for 40% off. Check them out. But again, if you just want our indicators to let you know all these questions on it, check it out down there. So again, Meta looks good. Contracts, I like July 19th. I don't want to go too much into them. They're a little bit expensive, but yeah, Looks very good. Now, a few names I've been mentioning to you guys was AMAT, and this is one that we called out today in Discord as well. Killed it, broke out. ASML is very interesting where it's at. A few weeks ago, too, I mentioned LRCX. I ended up closing on my LRCX. I want to make sure this is really transparent. These contracts ended up going 3x. And again, I try to tell people where I see value in the market at all times. But yeah, so again, today, I ended up closing my LRCX is $32 flat. I think where we originally mentioned them, they were at around 12.5, so a little under 3x, but that was a pretty nice position. So anyways, giving you a viewpoint there. Another thing I was looking at, but it's probably, I think this could run into 1100, but still looks really good. Keep them on your radar. But yeah, I ended up closing that position. Just way too big of a move, and I think there's other names I'd rather hold, so I got to capture some of the profits right now. All in all, though, another big name I'm watching is HPE going into tomorrow. Just to let you know, you have Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, speaking at their conference. So again, you can see the higher lows that you're establishing. You also have a little bit of a resistance up here at around $22. You break $22, you look good. Again, people always want to ask me about clear-cut targets. It's really hard to give clear-cut targets, but I do think HPE could start running back into highs. You know, obviously like 23, 24, we'll see. But it looks really good. Keep them on your target. Keep them on your watch list. Looks good. Another big name I mentioned too a few days ago was Dell. We mentioned how you held the 131 level. If you get above 136, you were very bullish. Well, as you can see today, you got back above. You gapped above, and then boom, it was kind of off to the races near 145, 146. Great name there as well. Going into Micron, again, I'm kind of speed running because there's a lot of names I want to talk about. We talked about Micron a few days ago, also on Twitter and here. Ascending triangle, you ended up breaking above. You're pushing at 147. Micron's historically been a slow mover when it comes to semiconductors, but as you can see today, you were up like $9, $7 on the stock at highs. Pretty crazy. Awesome name. Killing it there as well. The market looks really good, guys. It doesn't seem like a quote-unquote reversal is coming. And I want to be really clear, though. The biggest driver right now is the data that's coming in. So, like, when you're watching this, like, it's not rocket science, and people keep saying, Tyler, why are you so now bullish? Why are you this? Why are you that? And I think I do a good job here. That's why I'm doing it on the second channel too. If you guys know, I've been trying to post on that second channel, and I post here sometimes. But like, I made a video here and I was pretty bullish, but I posted this video in Discord as well. And I know for a fact the video I made on that day, 6-3, was really bullish as well here on YouTube. But I was telling everyone, like, I haven't been this bullish in over a year. And that's not to say like, hey, I was right and everyone needs to do this and I'm the best. But it's just to show you that like what I'm looking at like matters as far as like the data of like inflation and jobless claims and how the Fed is reacting to the market and what they're saying. That's what really matters, guys. It's not about our opinions. It's not about, what we care about. It's not what when you go to the grocery store and look. It's about what the Fed says. And if the Fed continues to push a narrative and we meet that narrative of what they want to happen, well, the market's going to continue moving in a bullish structure. So, where we make our money, obviously, like, I mean, for me specifically, I don't know about you guys, but it's on these breakouts, right? It's on the big breakouts that we've been having, not during this chop and consolidation. Like, so again, focus on the data that matters and what's really important in the market. And I promise the results will speak for itself. Like, if you guys aren't following on Twitter, you're not, Discord, I understand if people don't want to pay. I get it, right? I get it. We have a lot of free content out there as well. But focus on what matters, guys. Stop, listening to just the BS and the nonsense. There's a lot of good data out there, and there's things that really will elevate your trading, guys. So I recommend that if you're not paying attention or you want to ask questions here on the channel. We want to answer your questions. And again, we post videos every day for a reason. So have a good one, traders. I'll see you tomorrow.